do I follow that? Alrighty. So we're going to do the speeches now. We're going to do them all in one big run, so please feel free if you need to go to the bathroom, grab a drink, grab some extra food. It was pretty cold, so pack it up. So for those who weren't here when I introduced myself before, I'm Chloe's brother Matthew. And about, I think it was a couple months ago, I was in Perth and I got a call from Chloe and she said, in a bit of a roundabout sort of way, Matthew, will you be MC for the wedding? And I was like, oh shit. Is she like trying to keep me off the beers or something? But then I thought about it a little bit more and I thought, well, Phil and Chloe are both accountants and pretty sort of organised people. And I thought, well, this whole thing's just going to be planned down to the minute, so my job's going to be real easy. So anyone who knows Chloe and Phil realise they know their way around Microsoft Excel. And any chance to dump out a good spready, they'll take it. So it was about a week ago that I got the long-awaited wedding spreadsheet. And I was like, oh, sweet, here we go, I'm good. And the problem is, it's just too detailed. Like, how is anyone meant to remember a 1,000-line spreadsheet? So I think Chloe and Phil, I don't know if you're happy, but we might just give this spreadsheet. So the first speaker tonight is very well placed to give advice to the newly married couple, given how well known he is to share in the domestic duties around here. Marianne, what would you do without him? Please welcome up the father of the bride, Gavin Barnes.
Good evening, everybody. For those of you, I've already been introduced, I'm Chloe's dad. So you all enjoying yourself tonight? We've even ordered a full moon, if you can see it through the tent there. So. Okay. Firstly, on behalf of Marianne and myself, I'd like to welcome you all for coming and celebrate Chloe and Phil's big day. I'd like to thank all those that have travelled long distances and looking around tonight, that's probably nearly everybody. I'd also like to thank all those who made this day possible. When Chloe and Phil said they'd like to have a reception at home, and they said, something small, low-key. And I said, yeah, no, that sounds a good idea. And then as the weeks get on, I overheard phone conversations between Chloe and her mother, and I thought, this is not going to be a small thing, that's low-key. So, anyway, I must admit, as I walked down the aisle today, I was the proudest dad in the world to accompany Chloe and to see Andrew's two little girls, Alexis and Emily, as flower girls. I think they nearly topped the day off. I don't know if I can say that, but you know, Chloe, you know what it's like. I'd like to congratulate both Phil and Chloe and formally welcome Phil into the family. So what would you like to know about Chloe? Actually, before I get into that, there was one thing I remembered whilst writing this speech. I recall when she was in grade 1 and learning basic astronomy at school, her teacher organised for the class to go to her house that night and have a look at the stars and everything. So I drove Chloe there, and as we pulled up, she looked at me and said, Dad, don't you embarrass me. So, but 25 years is a bit long to keep a promise, so here we go. So, being the youngest sibling of two older brothers, Chloe had to keep up or get left behind, and keep up she did. Whether it was playing touch footy or cricket or fishing, even packing watermelons, she was treated as one of the boys. When she was little, she had a doll named Madeline, which she'd push around in a pram, like all little girls. But she'd only do this for a little while, and then she'd go to her mother and say, Mum, can you look after Madeline? I've got a meeting to go to. So I think it was at that stage we knew that she'd be a career girl. And she was, Chloe was a pleasure to raise and she was loyal, and she is loyal and family orientated. Although she still blames me for a broken finger she got whilst picking watermelons and a broken nose when she fell off a tractor. So anyway, after high school it was off to uni, and she worked full time for an accounting firm and did uni in between. In holiday time she'd come home and straighten the banana shed, pack bananas. And at the end of the year, at the end of uni, she worked in Townsville for a while, and then she moved out in the mines, where she got good friends with Chloe. Chloe here tonight, one of her bridesmaids. Mary and I went out to the mines one time, out to Moranbah when she was working there. And I don't know what her mother thought, but or what she expected. But when we met Chloe, we were greeted outside a grubby office. Chloe came out in high-vis clothes, steel-cap boots, and after a mine tour, Chloe said, "I'll show you where I live." So the look on Marian's face was priceless when we saw the dongers behind 6-foot barbed wire fence, not a bit of grass to be seen. So, and she said, "Chloe, this is like a prison, you know." So anyway, Chloe has always been spontaneous and not one to mull around over decisions. And one day she said, "I'm going overseas." So within a month, she was on a plane with nothing but 14 kilos on her backpack, a 2-year visa, and the keenness to see the world. I don't know too much about what happened over there in the 2 years Chloe spent. Most of the photos that we saw were on Facebook, and after about 12 months, her mother said, "Chloe, we haven't seen one photo of you without a drink in your hand." So one such photo was after a pretty flash Christmas party. The photo was taken by her boss and was of Chloe in the middle of a dance floor, sculling a $300 bottle of French champagne. So after 2 years living in the centre of London, Chloe moved back to Australia, straight out in the centre of Mount Isa. After being there for a while, she started to include words like Phil in the phone conversations. And after a while it was Phil and I. So one day I saw a photo of Phil playing golf and Chloe was following him around being a caddy. Until this time, I bet that Chloe would have no hesitation to tell someone to carry their own bloody clubs, you know. So I think it was at that moment we realised they were getting serious. So as time got on, we got to know Phil, and he fits in well into our family. And Andrew's 2 little girls love Uncle Phil. Phil's obviously a pretty switched on guy, and the other afternoon here, or the other morning, they were working with the boys, setting all this up. And Phil, so he knew how to get on to Marianne's side, good side. So Marianne made them lunch, and she cooked up some chicken and polenta. So Phil cleaned up a plate, and then he saddled up and hooked into another one. And Chloe said, "Phil, every time I've cooked you polenta, you don't eat it." And he said, "Yeah, but yours doesn't taste like this, you know." So Chloe, I'll get Mum to do up a spreadsheet on how to cook polenta. So. Anyway, it's now traditional that I give some advice, even though you probably wouldn't listen, or, you know. But anyway, I will say this. In searching for the most meaningful thing in life, don't look for it in job promotions or job awards or exciting places you visit. You'll find it at home, because at home is where your family is, and nothing beats family. So, love is only about the person you want to be with, but it's not about the person you want to be with, the person you don't want to be without. So now I'd like to propose a toast to Chloe and Philip Ballinger. So if they could be upstanding, and if you raise your glasses. So, Chloe and Philip. Thank you.
Thanks, Dad. Very kind words. One thing I did think you omitted, though, is there's tours of the shed, the museum, running. I think they're starting at about 10 on the hour. He'll be there promoting it. You won't miss it. Alrighty, our next speaker is known to consider himself a bit of a golf gun. That's what we hear. But the story we hear is, around here anyway, is that Phil gives him a bit of a touch-up every time that they play. So after Dad's last story, I probably thought maybe Barb can carry the caddy around with you or something. Maybe that's working for Phil. Alrighty, please welcome up the father of the groom, Greg Bellinger.
Thanks, Matthew. Okay, these are pretty hard acts to follow, so bear with me while I go into my spreadsheet and find out where I was up to. First of all, thanks a lot, Gavin, for all those lovely words you said about Phil, and it has got 2 L's, and it's Phillip. Yeah, I just thought I'd bring that to your attention because I've got someone by my side that cringes every time she hears that word Phil. So, yeah. So I'll go on. I'm Greg anyhow. I'm Phil's dad. Oh, Philip's dad, sorry. On behalf of my wife, Barbara, and I, it gives me great joy and honour to see smiling faces and so many people who love my son, or our son, and the entire family. I would like to thank everyone for coming tonight or today to celebrate this joyous occasion. It's been about 12 months in the making, and it's been really great to be a part of. It would be remiss of me to not acknowledge the grandmothers who are with us tonight. We've got Gavin's mum, Mary and Nana, and we've also got Flo and Nan, who's my mum. They're both here tonight with us, and yeah, thank you very much for being with us. I'd also like to remember those grandparents who are no longer with us, who also took part in raising Philip and Chloe. Thank you to all family and friends who have came from near and far and helped celebrate the marriage between Philip and Chloe. A really special thank you to Gavin and Marianne for providing this wonderful home and reception area. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone else who has helped in any way, big or small, to make this day a memorable day for Philip and Chloe. We're extremely proud of our son Philip. He has become the person that anyone would want to know and marry. So congratulations, Chloe. Now to Philip, from a cheeky little boy who was always a high achiever, in brackets we've got from Mum a poser, and still is, to a kid who played any sport, and yes, he used to give me a hiding in golf, and yeah, even up to Wednesday we went out. He just grabs hold of the clubs after 6 months away from him and knocks out a couple of birdies. And yeah, I wouldn't mention the 4-putt in the first green. So, but no, we had a great day together, and yeah, it was quite enjoyable. He's always been into sport, and yeah, he's always been good at it. Anything that he tried. So yeah. Then there was the times when we used to have him at home on brief occasions when he came back to Mount Isa now and again. And then yeah, these Wednesday night I'm going out to stay at Jerry's place, and then it's turned into staying at Chloe's, and then that's the first we ever knew that Philip had a girlfriend. So Chloe is certainly a beautiful, funny, caring person, and I couldn't have wished for anyone other than Chloe for our Philip. I'd like to take this this moment to welcome Chloe as a great addition to the Ballinger family. Yeah, welcome, and hope you make us heaps of grandchildren. Just in closing, I hope everyone has an awesome night and a really safe journey home to everyone that they love. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Alrighty, up next we have the Maid of Honour, Marla Costa-Weber. So Chloe lived with Marla over in London. I was lucky enough to go and visit them for about a week once. And I got a little bit of an insight into what they got up to over there, but I think it was very much a PG-rated version. So I think we can all look forward to this speech from Marla to hear what actually went on.
Evening. So first of all, can I just ask that we all synchronise our watches? I've only been given 7 minutes to talk tonight, and heaven forbid I talk into the best man's speech. Okay, so here I go. My name is Marla, as Matthew introduced me. I've known Chloe for just over 6 years. Our relationship started as many do these days, talking online for a number of days, meeting up for coffee at Juliet's, and we just hit it off. It was actually a setup by our mums. So at the time, Chloe and I were both planning on moving overseas to London separately. Marianne Gavin had known my parents for quite some years longer, and it all just worked out beautifully. A few months later, Chloe and I were living together. I'm sure it put both of our parents' minds at ease knowing that we're over there together with the security blanket of each other. Chloe and I shared some amazing memories together over in London, from orphans' Christmases, Oktoberfests in Germany, sailing Greece, Cyprus, Chloe. Of course, many of our great ventures involved alcohol. Chloe found herself working with a very social bunch of accountants who also loved a few weekday pints, which saw me spending nights alone at the apartment. I was always comforted with the slamming of the front door, the thud, thud, thud trip of Chloe falling up the stairs, signifying that she was home. It literally happened every night, and I'm pretty sure at one point Chloe was blaming her fallen arches for tripping. Chloe is useless with a hangover, but she always managed to be up early the next day to relive it all again. There's plenty of memories and stories with Chloe in London, but unfortunately time does not permit. Chloe, you've always been such a great friend to me over the last 6 years, and while we've not lived in the same city, we've definitely stayed close, and we always pick things up where we left off. Chloe actually asked me to be her maid of honour before Phil actually proposed. So if that doesn't scream organised, then the spreadsheets will. Now to Phil. So what a gem Phil is. Everyone loves Phil the moment we meet him. But there was a few moments that actually happened on the same day that Chloe asked me to be her maid of honour that really solidified the fact that they were to be together, that he was a keeper and the man for Chloe. So I was down in Brisbane for work and decided to hook on a weekend to spend a few days with Chloe and Phil. I arrived at their apartment and Chloe greeted me at the front door. Where was Phil? Well, Phil had had a few too many adult juices the night before, classic accountant, and was far, far worse for words, suffering. Chloe was not impressed because we'd planned to head out all together that afternoon. Phil eventually gathered the strength to hop up and greet me. Bless his cotton socks, because he made Chloe and I cocktails despite nursing a dramatic hangover. I sensed that he was really trying to make it up to her. But there was a sequence of events following that really solidified it all for me. So I noticed hanging in Chloe and Phil's wardrobe was a male's Broncos jersey. Strange, because Phil at the time was wearing a Cowboys jersey. So while Phil was making cocktails, I said, Phil, who do you actually support? And he said, the Broncos. So, okay, well, why are you wearing a Cowboys jersey? Well, Chloe supports the Cowboys, and I'm trying to get in her good books. Pretty smart, Phil. So his cocktail flaring and cowboy loving must have really worked, because about 30 minutes later, I walked out of the bathroom to the side of Chloe, patting Phil on the back as he was spewing in the kitchen sink. That is love. I'm sure it's a story you'll share to generations to come. So you're both legends and a truly amazing pair. At Chloe's Hens Night, we played a game, only one game, which involved asking Phil a bunch of questions a couple of days before, and then asking Chloe on the night to answer them how she thought Phil would answer them. My mum actually made the comment that you were both clearly great friends, not just partners. Chloe managed to guess every one of the questions right. Even when he answered them wrong, she knew how he was going to answer them wrong. So I think I'm going okay for time, but I'll wrap it up. So I'm just going to leave you both with something that I heard at a wedding a few years ago. And it really had kind of touched me, and I think it's a really nice words. So it goes, love is not a just euphoric, spontaneous feeling. It is a deliberate choice. It is a plan to love each other, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, for sickness and in health. Love asks you to do hard things, to forgive one another, to support each other's dreams, and comfort each other in times of grief. Whatever storm may come your way, plan to ride it together. Marriage is a promise to choose to love each other every day. So can we all raise our glasses to Phil and Chloe? Philip and Chloe.
Thanks, Marla. We'll come and see you later for the real story. Alrighty, up next is probably the most waited for speech, and I'm told there's too much ground to cover for just one of them to tell the story, so I believe both of you are coming up? No? Yeah. Please welcome the groomsmen, Will Cook and Blaine McCormick.
Cheers, mate.
G'day everyone, my name's Will. I'm the number one best man here today. This is Blaine, he's the runner-up. And we've been given the privilege of carrying out the best man duties for our mate, Phil, on his wedding day today. Unlucky, mate. I must start by congratulating Phil and Chloe on a beautiful wedding, and I'm sure it's a day that they're not going to forget for the rest of their life. And I'd also like to start with thanking Barbara, Greg, Marianne and Gavin on the fantastic job of raising these two wonderful and brilliant people before us here today. Now a little history about Phil, Blaine and myself. We became close mates back in high school, and we've lived together on a few occasions. After school, Phil completed his bean counting degree, while Blaine and I completed apprenticeships. When our studies were finished, the three of us decided to move into a place together. Needless to say, we've got plenty of dirt on each other, most of which is probably inappropriate for a wedding. That being said, what better situation will we have to share a few stories about our mate? On several different occasions growing up together, the three of us participated in the same footy and cricket teams. And I say participated simply because we were basically just passengers for any of the teams that we played on. Normally only trusted to carry the drinks or peel the oranges, Blaine in particular. But there was one sport which Blaine and I could never best Phil at, and that's golf. Most of you know Phil's a talented golfer. He has all the know-how, the skills and the gadgets to easily embarrass us on the scorecard. What you may not be aware of is Phil's unpredictable temper on the golf course. One day, I witnessed him hook a drive directly into a water hazard. What followed next could only be described as a brain snap. Immediately following the shot, I saw the man explode into rage. He exploded into what could only be described as a temper tantrum from what would rival most 3-year-olds in the middle of a shopping centre. The golf club, obviously blamed for the shot, got snapped in half, launched into the water, never to be used again. Despite this rare poor shot, Phil probably went on to win the game by 30 or 40 strokes, but not before racking up a pretty hefty damage bill. Phil has an amazing tendency to become incredibly competitive, especially when challenged by myself or Blaine. Doesn't matter what the competition is, Phil always pushes himself to the absolute limit. We made the mistake of playing the drinking game, 100 shots in 100 minutes with him one day. Whilst Phil won the drinking game, we were the real winners the next day. When Phil woke up and unknowingly went to work he was working at the pro shop back then with some pretty immature drawings all over his face. Courtesy of Blaine and myself. As most of you know, Phil and Chloe are pretty savvy with a Excel spreadsheet. However, I cannot imagine the mathematical formula needed to create such an incredible wedding as we've seen today. I mean, the wedding's gone off without a hitch. Everything was perfect. The ceremony was smooth and flawless. The photos are going to be stunning, and this reception looks absolutely incredible. I can only assume that Phil and Chloe have been crunching the numbers on this for months now, going over every minute detail. For example, I found out earlier this week how the drinks were calculated for the reception. And I believe this was done by something of the following. Adding up the volume of alcohol needed to achieve the appropriate level of blood alcohol saturation for each guest by subtracting the non-drinkers from the drinkers, multiplying by a factor of 1.5 for the heavy drinkers, and you know who you are, and dividing it by the spillage or the expected spillage rates of the easily intoxicated, and the length of time for the reception. I believe the final figures worked out to be roughly 17 drinks per person on average. So drink up. This combined with the spectacular venue and the music playlist, which can only be described as unpredictable. I have to say, really good stuff here, mate. Nailed it. On the back.
So I'm obviously the runner-up. Chloe, I must say that you and your bridesmaids look absolutely beautiful today. Girls, you have done an amazing job to get Chloe here on her special day. Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me immense pleasure to invite you all to stand and raise a glass in toast to Phil and Chloe. Or as they now should be known, Mr. and Mrs. Ballinger. We wish them well for the future and hope they enjoy a long and happy life together.
Thanks, boys. Now welcome up our beautiful bride, Chloe.
I had anticipated some smart comments from Matthew, so I'll have to change my speech a little bit. So thanks, Matthew, for someone who sent me a Batuta Advocate article when I asked you to be MC, saying that being asked to be MC is a surefire way to ruin your night. You seem to be doing just fine, so I'm glad. I spent a lot of time planning and thinking about today, thinking about the marquee, my dress, the drinks, obviously. And although I'm so stoked with how it's turned out, it would mean nothing without all of you. So thank you for being here. I know most of you have travelled, so thank you so much. Huge thanks to our bridal party. So you guys this week, last couple of days, probably thought it'd be a bit easy, but you really have put in and made it work. So I really appreciate that. Boys, you've been great sports throughout the whole wedding process, so thank you. Chloe and Marla, you've been such pivotal people in my life at different times of my life, and I thank you for your constant support. Marla, I knew it was a terrible idea to ask you to speak, but when I moved in with Marla, after barely knowing her, like she alluded to, I was just relieved she wasn't a serial killer. Although I will note she did briefly turn vegan at the end of our tenure in London, so some would say that's almost as bad. But Barb and Greg, I'll start by apologising of my continual reference of Philip as Phil. I'd like to say I'll stop, but we all know I won't, so sorry. Thank you for raising Phil to be the generous, kind-hearted man he is today. But mostly, thank you for teaching him to be a laundry pro, Barb. He's real good, so thanks for that. He's amazing. I'd be surprised if Matthew hasn't mentioned the story of me crashing my car, considering he likes to bring it up in general conversation, basically weekly. For a quick recap, I unsuccessfully negotiated a merging lane and in turn merged with a pole. Since Mum and Dad lived in Tully at the time, I called both brothers post-crash crying hysterically. Andrew arrived first. He was so sympathetic and kind. He was consoling me. And then Matthew turned up. Matthew proceeded to ask me why I crashed my car and why I didn't merge properly. This taught me that not everyone's going to see things your way, but that doesn't mean that they don't have your best interests at heart. And also, go to Andrew with my problems. Seriously though, I actually can't thank Matthew, Andrew, Jody and the girls enough for all their help this week. You've gone above and beyond to make this such a special day, and I'm grateful to have such wonderful siblings in my life. Mum and Dad, how many times over the last week did you regret offering to have the wedding here? I think it might have been a couple. Dad had a saying when we were growing up, there's no such thing as can't, which as the years went on was simply shortened to the phrase, the can't word. Example, Dad, I can't keep picking watermelons because I've broken my finger. Doesn't matter. Continue on. I still feel a lingering rage when I hear this phrase, but I'm so glad you taught us this mentality, and even though you had 2 boys, you still made sure to take me fishing and encouraged me to do everything, including welding and driving the dozer. Those things haven't come in handy yet for my finance career, but I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful, maybe one day. Mum, when I talk about selfless people, I don't think you could find someone more selfless than my mum. When it comes to her family, she puts herself last every time. But she's no pushover. Just try to walk on her freshly mopped floor. Every floral arrangement you see in this marquee tonight, Mum did. With Dad also roped into many arts and crafts projects. You're so talented, although it might be time to delete the Pinterest app, hey? Maybe. All right. I'm never going to be able to thank you for all you do for Phil and I. And I'm almost 30 and I still get excited to come home. I think that's how you know you're doing parenting right. Thank you for teaching me that family comes first and hard work pays off. Lastly, my new husband, the better accountant in the family. The guy that has calves that even personal trainers are jealous of. I knew Phil was going to fit in with my family when he made it his life mission to better my catching skills. His favourite pastime is to throw items at me to catch without any notice. The reason this was an indicator of our longevity is that Matthew once bought me a present of a giant tennis ball with a note, "Maybe you'll be able to catch this." It seems that my poor coordination has been a concern for many males in my life. I promise to still love you when you order Uber Eats on your way home from a night out with the boys and proceed to pass out before it arrives, making me stay up for more than an hour to wait for it. I'm sorry that I never turn my clothes in the right way before I wash them, and I get cranky when I'm tired. Your cheeky and infectious love for a good time is what drew me to you, but your kindness, caring nature, and generosity is what made me love you. You're so intelligent, driven, and you push me to be my best. You're so supportive of my career and everything I do. I couldn't ask for a better person to do life with. I love you.
Thanks, Chloe. Well, the merging story, there's probably a little bit more to it. So I'm glad she hasn't forgotten it because I think it was a few years later, we were still sort of, you walk past her in the house and you just yell out, merging, and, but I think it's worked because you haven't stacked the car since, have you? I think it's all good. So finally the lucky groom Phil's going to be next to speak. But just want to do a smart ass comment because Chloe enticed me. So I remember growing up with Chloe, she was often dragged out into the yard with myself and Andrew to play footy or cricket or touch or whatever we were doing. But as she got older, I think she sort of realised she was a bit more of a girl. And she started saying no. I mean, why would you not want to come out and get bowled out and run around in touch and all that sort of stuff by two older boys? Anyway, much to all of our surprise, since Chloe's been with Phil, we've seen her wardrobe expand to include golfing clothes, Cowboys jerseys, Wallabies jerseys, and even Broncos jerseys. So I think Phil, and also the craft beer and whiskey and all that sort of stuff has been quite a transformation. So anyway, Phil, there must be something special about you that me and Andrew couldn't bring out. So kudos to you. Please welcome up the groom, Philip Bellinger.
Speech. There we go. We've got it. Who put them in the middle? Well, what an act to follow. There's 5 great speeches. Pretty nervous. Forgot my beer. Thank you, all good.
There's going to be a waltz.
Yeah.
Sorry. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't done much public speaking, so I went to my old friend Google. I came across an article, 27 useful tips to overcome your fear of public speaking. The first few read something like get organised and prepare extensively, which I've ignored. Let go of your fear of rejection. We got that out of the way at 3 o'clock today. But I've also got a few tried and tested coping mechanisms up my sleeve. Well, technically it's in my right hand. But seriously, this wedding speech is one of those rare occasions when I get the opportunity to say publicly how I feel about people I truly care about. So I'll start with some very special people indeed, to the bar staff and caterers. Thank you. To my wife, Chloe, I love you. You look amazing today, and that we're even here is a testament to your tenacity. You've almost single-handedly organised this wedding and working long hours for the last 6 months at least. You've earned a promotion along the way. Your strength and commitment is an inspiration to me and makes me want to be better. To all of you, my wife and I would like to thank you, our guests, dearest friends and family, for being here tonight. It wouldn't have been worth it without you. So thank you for your efforts to be here. Having you here now is something that makes today very special to us, so thank you. Daryl Kerrigan couldn't have described it better when it comes to this amazing venue that Gavin and Marianne have put on. It's not a house, it's a home. It's got everything. But now for the wedding with a second bloody great big shed, a new coat of paint all around, and a new garden bed. I really appreciate all the recent additions. There's too many to mention, so mostly thank you for all your time and effort to make today possible. Thank you. Thank you to the Barnes family sitting at this table just here for welcoming me to your family. I couldn't have hoped for better in-laws. Gavin and Marianne, after the first few visits, it was clear that Chloe gets her energy and work ethic from both of you, so thank you for working so hard to raise a beautiful daughter and such a loving family. Unfortunately, the witty character you've passed on makes her think she's funny far too often. To Chloe's brothers, Matthew for handling the MC duties and also all the help during the week. And Andrew for providing his beer making expertise. I think everyone will agree that the beers we have on tap are amazing. Thanks also to Sam, my brother, and his partner Denny for being ushers at the church today and getting everyone up the front to see me cry. Thank you. To Mum and Dad, thank you for always loving me and supporting me, chasing my childhood dreams, sporting dreams, as you've alluded to. The long haul to golf events, early mornings and taking me wherever I wanted to be. You must be so proud to have an accountant as a son. Yeah, I don't do tax, so don't talk about it. Thanks for your help this week, and mostly thank you for the principles and family values that you've passed on, allowing me to find my way in life and doing whatever you can to help me, so thank you. To the bridesmaids, Marla and Chloe, thanks for all your help and being part of our special day. To my best men, Blaine and Will, no preference there, that is alphabetical order. Also, tallest to shortest and starts with who has the most real teeth. Let's be honest, I'm better organised than both of you and organised most trips over the last 10 years, but you've matured well. That speech was amazing, so thank you. And thanks for following my simple instructions and wearing jocks today. Literally everything else has been provided. You've both been great friends to me over the years. No matter how much time we spend apart, when we meet again, it's like we've never missed a minute. Thanks for all your support with the wedding this week and organising the Bucks. You've done a great job. Sorry, that's an inside joke. I apologise, but had to do it. Chloe, it was sometime about 4 years ago we crossed paths in Mount Isa. So we met in a mining town, worked in mining most of our careers, or all of our careers in my case, and this is a bit of a common thread for Chloe. Just the other day, while I was away, she had to cut a phone call short just to catch the latest episode of Outback Opal Hunters. Her second favourite show, only to Aussie gold hunters. I can't promise we won't fight or that I won't annoy you, but I can promise that you have a full-time live-in dog spotter from now on. Chloe loves dogs. She'll love the puppies to be here today. Lastly, thank you for teaching me to be more compassionate. I'm so lucky that you came into my life. It's been better ever since. And I can't wait to see what we can achieve together. So that's about it. So please join me in making a toast to my wife, my best friend, sometimes funny, usually clumsy, but always my number one, to Chloe.